guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Peyton. I'm a professional soccer player documenting my journey and experiences throughout my career on this channel. So I decided I'm going to start a new series called Making It. Every episode is going to cover a different topic of something I've learned or experienced throughout my career. I've always tried to be super honest and transparent about my career and my journey, and so my hope is with these videos is I can be a little bit more specific and intentional about these conversations and cover a wide variety of different topics. Whoever's watching, if you're an athlete, professional athlete, you can kind of relate, and some of the things I talk about, hopefully it resonates with you. Hopefully these episodes can be very helpful and insightful. I will show you what trying to make it actually looks like. So without further ado, here is episode 1 of Making It. Welcome to episode 1. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about dealing with uncertainty and being in a professional athlete setting. You never know what's going to come. And I feel like I wanted to start my series with this episode because I feel like it's such a big topic. Like basically your whole life can sometimes feel like a question mark as a professional athlete, and learning how to navigate that is really important and something that I've had to constantly get better at over the last few years throughout my career. So yeah, let's get into it. As a professional athlete, you're obviously required to travel a lot, and you have to be ready to pick up your life at the drop of a dime because anything can change. It's really hard to make big plans ahead of time because, like I said, things can change so fast, and honestly a lot of things can come out of the blue. A lot of cool opportunities, but also, you know, a lot of heartbreak can come with that as well. Like some people unfortunately will get traded, or they'll get waived, or you know, just something kind of pops up and it takes them a totally different direction in which they thought they were going to be going. And that's the thing with professional sports, this career path, that you literally have no idea where it's going to take you. You don't know if you're going to be staying in the same city, if you're going to be moving across the country. You don't know if you're going to be cut. You don't know if you're going to have to go home and just like train on your own. You don't know if you're going to be moving to another country, or if you're going to be staying overseas for a few years. Like there's literally no planning. You definitely have to surrender yourself to this lifestyle, and like any amount of control you want to have, like you have to let it go. And that's something I've learned to kind of manage the stress that comes with this uncertainty. Another thing that can kind of tie into this is, say you get to the end of your season and you are planning to leave your team. For people who are like trying to break through, it's kind of hard. Like you kind of have slim pickings sometimes of like your choice of where you want to go, and it doesn't always happen like right away. Like you make a decision to leave and then you have your plan B and you know exactly where you're going. There's a lot of waiting time in between that. In my case, knowing if I'm going to be staying in my home country or not. And then even the visa process, you know, you have an idea of when you're going to be leaving, but you don't have a set date, and then you're given at a moment's notice literally to pack up your life and leave. An example, last season I was in the US playing in North Carolina. So my season last year ended in November, and I obviously did a lot of thinking and decided like a move was the best thing for me, but I didn't know where I was going to be going. I didn't know I was going to be going overseas until January. At the beginning of January, I was starting to get feelers out from like certain teams. All of them were overseas. And so I was like, okay, I have to mentally prepare. I'm not going to be living in the States this next year. I'm going to be going overseas. And it was like 3 different countries. So even then, I don't know which country I'm going to be living in. Like, do I have to prepare to not be able to speak the language, or am I going to be going to somewhere that doesn't feel as foreign? Like I didn't know where I was going until I got like my offer from Glasgow City, and I was like, okay, I'm going to Scotland. So this whole time I had like a general idea of like when I was going to be leaving, towards maybe the end of January, but I didn't have an exact date. I didn't have honestly any set plans. It was just like, okay, around this time is when I'm going to be moving. And it wasn't until 3 days before my flight that I got like confirmation that, hey, your flight is on this day at this time, you're moving to Scotland. So from November to January, I honestly had no idea what I was doing, what my plan was, where I was going to be living. And that's a long time to kind of have to sit with the unknown. Those 3 months of waiting is so long. And then you get that text and you're like, hey, you're leaving in 2 days. It's like a total whirlwind of events of like literally trying to say your goodbyes, pack up your life. You know, another thing, because there's so much uncertainty, it's hard for you to feel settled wherever your team's market is. It's hard to feel like you can build a life there sometimes. If you know, like, okay, I have my contract is for 1 year, you want to bring enough stuff, like pack enough to feel like you have everything you need, but you feel settled and you feel like you're home a little bit, but you don't want to overpack because you're only there for a certain amount of time, if that makes sense. So sometimes it can feel like you can't get too comfortable in a place, and because you don't know how long you're going to be there, or you know it's only a certain amount of time, but after that, you don't know where you're going to be. It's so hard to say. There's moments in your career where things just feel like a big question mark, and honestly, that's part of this whole journey of like trying to make it. I feel like this topic perfectly explains the amount of stress and uncertainty you go through trying to make it to the highest point of your sporting career. You have to be okay with things not going to plan. You have to be okay with not always knowing where you're going to live or which team is going to want you. You have to be ready to leave your friends and family at a moment's notice because your visa got approved. If you're, you know, training on your own at home and like waiting for a team to call you back and call you in. My boyfriend can speak on that. Last year got cut during preseason. And so he was home for a few months just training and working out by himself. And that was in August. And then he didn't get called back till December. And like, it was super random. And so like all that time went by and he had no idea what was going on, what was going to happen. That's a long time. You know, you're grinding for something and you're hoping and knocking on that door and just like waiting for that opportunity to come, and you don't know when it's going to come. Like that can really mess with your mental. You have to be very go with the flow. You have to be okay with your life changing all the time. Your environment's changing all the time. You have to be willing to, you know, sometimes live out of a suitcase. This is where I've been staying. Living out of a suitcase. Story of my life. And not always have everything you want to make you feel super homey and comfortable. You have to be okay knowing that time is not always your friend. And the constant waiting, anticipation, it can be a lot, but it also, I feel like, teaches you a lot about yourself. Like, you have to be extremely patient, have to be adaptable. Like, you have to adapt to any circumstance that comes your way. You might be working out by yourself for a few months until your next opportunity comes, or you might be prepared to go to one place, but then that opportunity doesn't work out and you're going to this other place. And you have to be ready to make those moves and pick up your stuff and immerse yourself in this new environment that maybe you weren't prepared to be in. And you just have to cherish your moments of like when you do feel settled and when you do feel like you belong in your environment. Sometimes that's really hard to come by. But I will say, like, with all this uncertainty and anticipation of the future, it definitely makes things interesting and it makes it fun because, like I said, you don't know where your career is going to take you. Like, you could have the most picture perfect idea and it will go so far left that you literally had no idea how it got there, but it makes for good stories to share. Like, my career has taken me through so many different experiences, different places that I couldn't have guessed for myself at the beginning of my career. So it makes it fun and in a really weird way. I feel like I've had to learn to laugh at some of my stories, and it's like I really have no control over this no matter how hard I try. I had a lot to say about this because, like, you just with this career, like, you just don't know. You don't know anything. Like, you can't predict anything, and that's kind of the best part, and it's kind of the worst at the same time. But like I said, it makes things interesting. It keeps you on your toes, learning to accept that you don't have control and that things are always changing, like, the better off you're gonna be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you guys have experienced this, deal with this, or any questions you guys have, or like things you want me to talk about. I'm really excited to start this series. I have a lot of different ideas for it. So yeah, so episode 1, uncertainty, living in the unknown. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up if you did, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Mama told me one day I'll be famous. Remember when she used to say she hate this.